Critical hit Punch All Nazis takes place in the early days of World War II and combines high adventure with cosmic horror. All dates, locations, and historical events are thrown out the window in order to create a fun story, so don't put too much thought into historical inaccuracies. All accents are done poorly, but with love, and no disrespect is intended. It is almost 2 weeks since you were admitted into the medical ward there at Section M headquarters in Kent, Carlos, and you are healing very well. In fact, you are up and able to move around. You can wear normal street clothes and explore the grounds and all of those things. So you can get moved back into your regular room. But, the day that you move back into your regular room, you walk in and there are 3 books on the table and a note that says, Mr. Carlos, you wanted information on Carcosa. These are the only 3 texts that I could find. I have not read them because, I was told not to. Signed, Dilbert.
Okay. I'll go find Sally.
Sure, you go downstairs into the main war room area. This is the main big library with the big giant table with the map of Europe spread out across it. And as you approach Sally and the Brigadier and Towton, they're all looking at the map, and you can clearly see that coming from German territory, from Germany and Poland and all the areas that they have, they've colored all of that red. And you see that there is a kind of a big cone coming right out of Germany and pointing right towards Paris. And it's getting closer. And they've got little flags positioned all in here. And that cone, as it gets to Paris, is very narrow. But as you get out to obviously the German border, it is spread out very wide. So this is not a parabolic curve. It is almost like a... what's the opposite of a parabolic curve?
Quadratic?
Yeah. It's almost like that. It's almost like a bell shape. That is how much territory the Germans have been taking since they crossed the border into France in the last 3 weeks.
Okay.
Sally is standing there.
Hey, Sally, can I talk to you for a second?
Oh, yes. Carlos, what is it?
So I got some books about Carcosa from the library, and Dilbert told me that he's not allowed to read them. Is that a security thing, or is that a might warp his mind kind of a thing?
Well, it depends on what the books are. And do you have the books with you?
Sure.
One of them is titled The King in Yellow. It looks to be a play. And she looks at this and says, oh, no, this is a dangerous book. I don't know why anyone would have their hands on it. And she sets it aside.
Okay.
Then there is another one that is talking about The Outer Realms is the name of the book. And she's like, I don't think that this one is probably problematic at all. And then there's another one that she looks at, and it is the title called it is called Hali and Hastur. And she's like, I'm not really sure what this book is, but it looks to be talking about some gods. It doesn't look like a forbidden text. And she hands all 3 back to you. I would avoid the King in Yellow if I were you, but if you really want to take that risk, go for it. I know that I read like the first chapter, many years ago, and I had a headache for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna skip it for now. This is like the 3rd time I've come across it, so maybe eventually. if it keeps showing up.
Mm-hmm. And then the brigadier, after he's listening to your conversation, there
Sure.
may be another reason why we have prevented young Dilbert from accessing these books or reading these books. After the revelation that we had another spy in our midst, we are convinced that Section M is infested with German spies. And
Well,
considering what happened when you were in the Netherlands, we have come to the conclusion that the Germans, the Black Sun, know basically everything we know, and obviously they know more. So we are trying to clamp down on information. So now things are going to be more of a you need to have a proper clearance. And you look around and you notice that, yeah, this space is a lot more empty than what you were used to. And you did notice in the last week or so that you thought they were building new barracks, but it does look like they were building facilities outside of the main building to house people who are part of Section M, but who are under different kind of clearances. Okay. So it looks like the main building is for highest clearance only people.
Okay. Yeah, that was that's why I was asking, because I didn't know who had put the lock on these books, but it sounds like it's a combination.
Yes, quite.
All right. Well, I am gonna go do some reading. If you guys need me, you know where I am.
Yes. I'm glad you're up and around. You about ready to return to active duty, yes?
Oh, I think so.
Okay. As you leave, the front door opens, and hey, look, there's Doc. Doc, you haven't seen him in like 2 weeks.
Oh, hey, Doc.
Do I know he was injured?
Yes.
I do. Okay, good. How you feeling?
Oh, I'm doing better, thanks.
Good. Oh, sorry. Jet lag. Oh,
You been out?
yes, I went home. My father passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. It turned out to be very complicated.
I mean, I get that.
Complicated in our usual way.
Oh.
I have a key now.
Oh.
I know. We probably ought to find out what it is.
Yeah, you might want to get some nerds on that. Did the term nerd exist already?
Yes.
You might want to get some, no, like Poindexter, the TV thing, right?
Some long hairs on that.
Yeah.
Some of them.
1950s is the first appearance of nerd. So no,
Okay,
not at
so
this time.
let's go with Egghead. That seems like it probably
That would probably be more on
perfect.
target. Yes.
Yeah, let's get some eggheads on it.
Look at that egghead kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dilbert is walking by, heading out the door. Good luck with your reading, Mr. Carlos.
Thanks, Dilbert. Oh, by the way, Doc, if you see this book and I show him The King in Yellow, don't read it. It's apparently cursed, or it opens something in your brain or something. We don't know yet, but
I think I've read that one.
Oh, well, there you go. I guess if you're okay, then that's okay.
I'm feeling much better now.
Oh, that's good.
Dilbert is one of those eggheads that you guys were talking about.
Oh, okay. Eggheads. Hey, Dilbert, come here.
Yeah, sir.
You want to show him the key?
Yeah. I encountered this. It's apparently an artifact that belonged to my late father. And I suspect, given the people who were trying to get it, that it has some sort of mystical capacities. But
so he takes this. Do you hand him the box?
The key is in the box. That's a good question. Do I hand him the box? It cost my father's life. I think I'm probably going to show him the key in the box.
Oh, that's very interesting. May I examine it?
Yes.
And he takes the box out of your hands. He starts looking at it, turning it around. Oh, yes. The joinery indicates that this is early 1700s, maybe 1720. He sniffs at it. Oh, it's been in a place where there have been a lot of smoking and cigars, tobacco, upper class. This has probably been in the hands of a wealthy class of people for the last, I'm guessing, 200 years. He turns it over and he sees the little insignia down in the corner, and he looks at it and he peers at it. Well, this is a maker's mark, but I'm not really sure what. I don't think I've seen this before. I'd have to do some research on it. And then he opens up the box and he looks at the key. He doesn't touch it. Oh my. And it's a big silver key. So if you want to imagine something that is like, maybe 6 inches long by about 4 inches wide. So on one end has the big, oval handle part of the key and a stem. And then down on the other end, you would imagine the little boxy part of a skeleton key.
Yeah.
So it's about 6 inches long by about 3 or 4 inches wide. And he's like, "Oh, this is the key to the Dreamlands, huh? That's interesting. Okay, well, may I take this with me?"
What is the key to the Dreamlands?
Well, that's the part I don't know. I'm going to have to investigate.
Well, the Dreamlands is where remember that big eel monster? That's what that girl was trying to go into, because that's where her cousin went, right?
Yep.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, Carter.
So
Her name was Evelyn Carter, or whatever her name was, but it was Carter.
Yeah.
We
Linda Carter. Yeah.
How about this? I sense that Doc is reluctant to give you this key. So how about you talk to either Pontus or Antoine or both, and we can arrange for you guys to get a handle on this for a while and investigate it.
Unfortunately, because of recent incidents, I no longer have clearance to Pontus or Antoine. But hold on, and he goes to one of the side tables at the entrance of the hallway there, and he gets a little piece of paper and he puts it on the back of the box where the little insignia is, and he gets a pencil and he does a real quick rubbing on the little insignia, and of course it makes the inverse appearance there, and he goes, "This should at least get me started."
Okay.
The people looking for it, I don't know if they're the ones behind the mark, but I believe they call themselves the Brotherhood or the Society of the Silver Key.
All right. And he writes that down on the piece of paper. We live in strange times.
Yes.
So it could be anything. Is there anything else you want me to look up?
I can't think of anything, but it's been a...
All right. Well, I'll go back to my shed and see what I can find.
Thanks.
And
you're a real team player.
Yeah, of course. Yay team. Yay, the kingdom. Boo the Nazis. And he's kind of walking out with his hand in the air like a rah-ha-ha. And he bumps into a gardener who is coming in, and he's got like a apple crate full of vegetables and stuff. And of course he's got some dirty boots and a pair of, brown work pants and a, you can see inside an inner shirt that's green. And then it looks like he's got some kind of a not a jumper, not a sweater, but like an inner coat with a hood. It is colored red. And then he's got an outer coat, which is a work coat that you guys would know is like a canvas workman's coat. And it's pretty dirty too. Hello, I wanted to drop off some veggies.
Oh, thank you.
It's going to be in short supply very soon.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll get these to the kitchen.
Oh, thank you. And he turns and he walks out the door, and we follow him down to the garage where he opens it up to discover Blisco, who is finally, Blisco, you've got that truck up and running.
Start it, give it a nice pat, and
Yeah, it sounds good. The gardener walks up to you and goes, I never thought anyone would get this rust bucket running. Good job, boy.
Thanks.
I can't wait to use it to run errands back and forth to town.
As long as it's of help.
Yes, thank you very much. This will be of good help. Anyway, it's getting late in the day. I best go home. Pleasant dreams. And he turns and walks out the door. Congratulations. Your task of building a truck is complete. What were you going to say, Blisco?
Was the one guy that I met the last time still there?
Oh, Green? Yeah, he's still there. Who was playing Green? Was that...
I was playing Green.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Man, I can't believe you got that thing running again. I thought for sure we'd have to replace the whole engine block.
I didn't think that was going to be the problem. There's a lot more little things that can go wrong before we have to tend to that. But the gardener knew?
I think a lot of people knew that you were working on this. You seem pretty determined to bring this old wreck of a truck back to life.
Oh, that was more of a Blisco doesn't recognize this person and is asking about them.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah.
I mean, you've been pretty much in here dusk to dawn. The word gets around.
I don't remember seeing him before.
So, Mr. Green, you would know that he is one of the regular gardeners here at the estate.
Yeah, he's a regular gardener here.
Oh, okay. Well, if the truck can be useful for him, then that's great. Blisco will nervously look around for the newest vehicle in the worst condition now.
Yes, there is definitely a newest vehicle in worst condition. It is a old jalopy. It looks to be like an 1899, 1900 steam vehicle. It is most certainly there as a collection piece and not something that was ever in active use, or at least it hasn't been in active use for about 40 years.
Well, that looks like a fun little toy to tackle.
Well, I guess have fun.
Well, enjoy your day.
Yeah, you too.
Let's go head over to the next one.
Okay. Your stomach is starting to get a little rumbly in your tumbly.
Dinner time.
You head back up. Yep, you head back up to the house, and we will join you back in just a moment. But first, Valentino, what have you been doing? We haven't seen you around the grounds in the last day or so.
Oh, probably just kind of been walking, make sure that everything seems all right from my recent tussle. Everything's healing okay. Make sure there's no weird pulls or pains.
Nope, the doctors cleared you and checked you out, and they were very impressed that you alone were able to take down 3 Nazi agents and save your friend.
All right. I may have went out for a bit of a jog.
Okay.
Just something to do and kind of just excuse just to kind of look around and make sure that there's no other people that strike me as suspicious types.
Yeah, sure. Why don't you roll a will plus resilience. D1 on this. Hey, 2 successes. Yeah, you are able to jog the grounds. You're able to go and do a couple of walks off the main proper grounds out into the fields and explore. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, in the UK, they have this thing called, I forget what it's called. It's like a rambling law, meaning that people can just cross private property as part of like an open walking law. So you will run in occasionally to people who are just walking across the grounds, out in the outer fields and stuff as they're passing through. But certainly there are some military soldiers that are patrolling those areas as well that are kind of encouraging people to just move along. But it looks like, from what you can tell, there is nobody actively trying to break in to the facilities. In the back of your mind, though, there's something that's always calling out to you. A little booklet that you may have forgotten about in all the chaos that's happened in the last couple of weeks. But your mind keeps going back to that book.
That book. Maybe I better sit down, look it over, make sure there's nothing I've missed.
How many times do you think you've gone over this book?
It's hard telling. It kind of blurs together. I really feel like, it seems like I've read it enough. I should pretty well have it memorized by now, but...
Yeah, this time when you sit down, you notice that there appears to be, before you've just been reading the words and absorbing the words. Now you notice that you're starting to pay attention to how are the words written? How are they placed on the page? How are the, little illustrations on the page? And you now get the feeling, as you examine this, that there's something about in the text. Certain words seem to be more bold, or some letters seem to be a little bit more bold than others in the ink that has been written. You get the impression that these words together, something, doorway openings, it's still very cloudy in your head and hard to completely decipher, but you think there's something in here. Now you're certain that there is something in here on how to open up a doorway.
Huh. Interesting. Well, I'll find some paper and a pen and start see if I can work that out.
Okay. Why don't you roll me a single D20?
Okay. 5.
Okay, it's going to take you probably a week or so of just dedicated study to get this fully deciphered.
Interesting. All right. Well, ain't got much else going on, and Antoine,
there's a rumbly tumbly in your tummy.
I guess I can come back to this. I'll tuck the book away in my pocket and head on to the mess.
Okay. Carlos, you and Doc, are you still hanging around with each other, or have you decided to get to reading your books?
No, I think we would have parted ways since he probably needs to settle back into his room.
Okay.
So I'll get started on
The one they told you not to read.
no, the one that I'll get started on the Outer Realms since they literally just told us about the Dreamlands again. Maybe that's one of them. So
sure. So you start reading through this, and it is talking about some I don't know, how does Carlos feel about talks of other dimensions and life on other planets? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Dutch is kind of all for it. He's like a sci-fi and fantasy reader. So, when they're it's like, oh, these alien creatures from beyond the moon. It's like, oh, he's like, sure. I'm like, he's not like, oh, this is bull, because he's seen so much by now that he's like, okay, well, let's treat this like it's true. And he's probably actually actively entertained by it because it's stuff that he's into.
Okay. So as you are going through this book on the Outer Realms, there is some wild, fantastical, crazy stuff in this book. There's talk in here about ancient civilizations coming to Earth millions of years ago and putting humans into a slave race, and the humans revolted and took over and put these gods down, put these beings down. You see references to some kind of a creature called a Yith. You see another reference to a creature called a Amigo. And then you see another one that is talking about star spawn or something like that. It's very weird. And then there's sections that talk about different places. There's a section that talks about the plateaus of Ling, which seems really weird. And then you get to a little section, it's very brief, called Carcosa. And it says, along the shore, the cloud waves break, the twin suns sink beneath the lake, the shadows lengthen in Carcosa. Strange is the night where black stars rise and strange moons circle through the skies, but stranger still is lost Carcosa. Songs that the Hades shall sing, where flap the tatters of the king, must die unheard in dim Carcosa. Song of my soul, my voice is dead, die thou, unsung as tears unshed shall dry and die in lost Carcosa. Upon reading that, Carlos, would you give me a will plus resilience D2?
Yep. I am going to add my dauntless.
Okay.
To
because you've been at this for at least an hour.
Yeah. Okay. You said what was it again? Sorry.
D2.
Will and resilience.
Ooh.
Success and a complication.
Yeah, success and a complication. So you fail, and
there's a complication.
There is a complication, because just reading this verse, you have one of the most intense pains stabbing you in the back of the eye. This is like the sudden worst headache that you have ever had in your life, and you cannot get it to go away. Your vision is kind of dimmed just a little bit, and you're really having trouble focusing. But you are now somewhat more interested in finding out about Carcosa than you were before. And the other books, especially the one called King in Yellow, seems much, much, much more interesting now.
Oh, well, maybe I'll get into it once my headache goes away.
Okay, you do need to take one fatigue.
Okay.
And this is going to be an ongoing thing till further notice.
Okay.
Forever.
Even with the really sharp pain, maybe one of the thoughts you have is, maybe I'm just hungry. And even though you are very interested in opening up the book King in Yellow, it's dinner time, and so you slip the copy of King in Yellow into your pocket.
Okay.
And you want to carry this around with you.
All right, I'll go to dinner.
Doc, what about you? What are you doing?
I don't even remember. Do I have an official room?
Yeah, you have a room. Yeah.
Probably go there to my room and make sure.
Yeah, you open it up, and there's a woman in there who's cleaning. Oh, sorry, we thought you were gone. We haven't seen you in a couple of weeks.
I had business that had to be taken care of, unfortunately, but I'm back.
Okay. Nobody seems to know where you went. I thought you went AWOL.
Oh, I went to Massachusetts, which is sort of the same thing, honestly. I don't recommend it. But I hope that my things are still here.
I was just about ready to throw them out, but here they are.
Well, thank you for waiting.
Well, it's 2 weeks.
So I have my stuff. I did thing to settle in. I'm not going to stop her from finishing the cleaning. I don't want to get in her way or anything.
Oh, she's done. After she drops all your stuff on the floor, she's like heads out.
Great. The United Kingdom. The stories I could tell. Okay. So, yeah, I have a place. I'm going to look at the place. I'm going to be like, okay, now what?
Well, one thing that you might be a little concerned about is she said she thought you went AWOL.
Mm.
And considering that literally no one knew where you went, that might be something you want to address.
I suppose so, yeah.
How are you going to do that?
I should probably go and find General Sarge.
He's
Brigadier?
in New York.
Oh, well, he's not here. Then I will probably seek out the Brigadier. Do I have like a direct line of report, or are we
Yes.
like
Sally
who is it?
Armitage. Sally Armitage.
I'll go find Sally Armitage.
She is in what everyone is calling the war room, and she continues. You walk in, and she is discussing matters with the Brigadier and Towton, and you can see laid out on this table a giant map of Europe, and the areas that the Nazis have occupied are all in red, and there's this big bell-shaped arrow going towards Paris. Sally sees you when she walks in. Oh, you are back.
I am.
We didn't know where you went. You disappeared. We thought maybe you were on an alcoholic bender somewhere, but no one had seen you in any of the bars. We were about to write you up as a renegade, as AWOL.
Well, I'm glad I got back before you did. My father died, and I
Oh, I'm
got the
very
news.
sorry.
Thank you. Also, I don't know if I've told you, but I'm sorry for the loss of your father as well. He was a good man. But
Yes. Well, thank you.
eh,
And where were you, and what were you doing that necessitated you leaving in the middle of the night and not telling anyone?
I went home to see my father and discovered that he had been murdered.
Oh, my.
Yes, and
Is it because of your activities here?
no, I think well, I don't want to say that it's unrelated because there definitely is an element that I think has there something supernatural seems to have been going on. I actually, I'll show it to you later, but Dilbert, what's his name? Dilbert said that I am apparently now the possessor of the key to dreams. So that's something, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I
But
don't know what that means.
I, not sure myself, honestly. But he said it in a very, very convincing manner. So I think it means something. But nonetheless, I'm back and I apologize. And I suppose that if there's any type of reprimand that needs to be reprimanded, I will take it. But
There's a sudden ringing in the room next door, and she's like, well, we can discuss this later. Right now, it is dinner time. And everyone goes in and sits at the big table that you've been at before. You know, the Brigadier is there, Sally, Towton, the White Witch guy, the four of you. Here comes Badger. He's hobbling now, but his leg is still quite bandaged up. And he sits down next to you, Carlos.
Okay.
Hey, they dragged that bugger out of there the other day.
What bugger?
The one that's the Nazi.
Oh, okay.
The one that he wanted to murder in his sleep.
Yeah.
I hear they're doing some interrogation on him.
I'm sure they are.
I hope it's painful.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we're pretty far off the record here, so it could be. But from what I hear, the British tend to treat their POWs fairly well.
Unless they're spies.
I guess that's true.
And then the servants come in and they're putting out food for everybody, and Tout seems very happy and pleased, and everybody is digging in and enjoying their meals. Is there anything anybody would like to talk about at this time?
I'll just like generally ask what everybody's working on. See if we can go around the table.
Oh, sure. Let's go. What are you working on?
Got the truck that I was working on fixed earlier today, and figure that thing had a number of problems, but she's up and running perfectly fine now, so that'll be helpful. And then I found and rattle off like whatever the old car is.
Yeah, and
that is
when you mention that, Towton is like, "Oh, Jenny, you're gonna get it running again."
That's the plan.
Oh, I did enjoy that car when I was a child. It ran on water, you know. You threw some coal or wood in the back and fired that thing up, and it was powered by steam. Oh, that should be a fun project for you, Blisco.
Just want to make sure everything's working correctly at this point.
Yes. Ah, very good, very good.
And he seems really tickled by the fact that his steam-powered automobile may be working again.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Valentino?
Oh, hey, when did Doc get back?
Oh, about an hour ago.
Oh, well. Well, I guess I've been looking back over the book. I think I found something in it.
Oh, this is the brigadier.
Yeah. Seems to be another spell written between the spells about opening the path or something. I'm working on it.
Sally looks at you and she's like, "Good job. I knew you could do it."
Well, I suppose that still remains to be seen, but yeah, I'm working on it.
Oh, very good, very good. Well, we are, and this is Sally continuing to talk. We are, since the incident, and of course, everybody at the table, maybe not you, Doc, know what the incident is, but she is like, since the incident, we've been more concerned about security here, obviously, and we are more concerned about what we're noticing the Nazis doing as they make their march towards Paris. Obviously, these worm creatures that you encountered at the flute factory are part of this push, but we're getting word from our source on the inside that the Black Sun are also accompanying the Nazis, and they are going into every church, every synagogue, every library, every museum, and they are cleaning out every artifact that might have some kind of a mystical ability or property.
I've been on that tour. There's a lot of those.
Yes, indeed. And so we are very concerned why they are gathering up so much now and what they plan to do with it. So we've been kind of busy with that over the last couple of days. And the brigadier is like, quite. It is unfortunate, Badger, that you are not in the condition to lead an assault, but it is something that we need to consider. And then the guy, the White Witch guy, he kind of speaks up. I've been interrogating the prisoner. He is a very hard nut to crack. But I'm sure with a little bit more pressure that I shall be able to get the information we seek. It will be a few more days.
Fantastic.
Yes, very good. Anything else?
Is that Sarah? Is that, or who's the White Witch guy?
Oh, that is, I forget what his name is off the top of my head because that's on another note somewhere. But yeah, he is the, let's see.
I have one guy as skinny cloak, tall guy,
that is
leather. Okay, so that's Seraph.
Yep.
Seraph.
Yeah, that is Seraph. Yeah, Seraph. Yeah.
Sans Seraph is his name.
Well, he does
Okay,
not have
well,
wings, so
his first name is Sand. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I've been convalescing. Wait, is that the right
yes.
word?
How are you coming along? Are you back into shape? Yeah.
Well, I was mostly doing fine, but I think in my eagerness, I kind of gave myself a headache getting into some literature. But I should be
Sally kind
fine.
of looks at you. Are you sure you're okay? Did you
I
read that
mean,
book?
I didn't read that book. I read the other book. Um, but uh, it had a reference, and I don't know if I can talk about it now. Is
You
this
can
like
just. I think you
high
can describe it
clearance?
in general. Yeah.
Okay. So I found a
Yeah. This
poem.
whole room is like all high clearance people.
Okay. I found a poem about Carcosa.
Oh.
It was very lyrical and descriptive. And I think there's probably a lot of references in there to its place, but also its history and possibly to the artifacts. But it's not direct. It's not as direct and to the point as the Luminaries rhymes were.
Hmm. Does it seem to be a place that is here, or is it really describing another world or plane, or
I
what
mean,
are we?
it came from a book called The Outer Realms, so
Ah.
my assumption is that it's not here. It does talk about like aliens and the cosmos and things like that, not necessarily in reference to Carcosa. So, I mean, it could be here and just like hidden in some way, or it could be like, I don't know, on the moon. Like,
Mhm.
these guys are pretty out there and they talk about passageways and portals and things like that. So again, not directly in reference to Carcosa, but there's some other stuff here. It's pretty interesting.
That
Um,
that is good information to have, even if it's just little bits and pieces. Be
yeah.
sure to write that down if you can. Just a description. Don't write the actual verse, please, and get it over to us, and we can feed it into our brain trust.
Okay.
Did you find anything else?
No, I haven't had a chance to look at anything else. I was warned against this book. I pull out the King in Yellow. I don't.
That is a book that is very dangerous.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you have it in your possession.
it. Here, do you want it?
No.
Okay. Yeah, that's my concern is that I keep running into this book, and I actually don't remember putting it in my pocket earlier, so there's that.
Sally says, perhaps I should just take it off of your hands and store it away.
Sure.
And yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead and
grab it.
roll a will. Yeah, go ahead and roll a will plus resilience D2, please.
Okay. So we've established that if I use like my talent, then the next die costs 2 momentum.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Well, never mind then. We'll just try to do it. We'll do it live.
Hey, 2 successes. Yeah, you don't see any real reason not to give it to her, so you hand it across the table to her, and everybody is very quiet. And as you pass it under the lit chandelier, the lights dim down just a little bit, and then they come back up, and everybody kind of looks around at each other as Sally takes the book and tucks it into a pocket of hers. How many of you thought that was some kind of a mystical thing?
That just happened now.
Yeah.
Dutch literally didn't notice it. He was working too hard to like push away all the things that are like, whatever, it's not a big deal. She shouldn't take it. You shouldn't take it. You shouldn't give it to her. She doesn't need it.
Anyone else? Certainly, certainly Towton and the Brigadier kind of look up and then look at each other.
Lisco is eating. He is blissfully unaware.
Okay. Well, anybody who thought that there may have been any kind of a mystical element to it, that's followed up by a little bit of the china starting to shake just a little bit. And then you hear the sound of an air raid siren going off. And you start to hear the sounds of planes approaching. And Towton is like, we're being bombed. Everybody to the shelter. And the lights go out and curtains are drawn tight. And everyone makes it down into the basement for a few hours as planes fly over and begin bombing Kent, Dover, the countryside. Occasionally you can hear a big gun being fired down at Dover, which is not too far away. It's far enough away, but not super far away to where you can hear the echoes of a loud cannon being fired back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a few hours that you guys are down in the basement. There's no official fallout shelter here. It's just the wine cellar area of the estate. There are all sorts of people here. Dilbert is here. Pontus and Antoine are here. The doctor is here. Everybody around the table was there. Even Dilbert and some other soldiers are brought in, as well as a few other, what you guys refer to as eggheads, are also brought in. This seems to be the bulk of the people on the grounds are all now huddled in this very massive wine cellar beneath the Towton estate.
Oh man, those sirens and explosions aren't doing wonders for my headache.
No, they are not.
Oh, wine.
Yeah, there you go. You find a vintage and you just grab it off and you pull the cork and start drinking, and you can kind of see as you start to drink that Towton is a little bit visibly shaken. That was a 200-year-old bottle of wine.
And it is fantastic. To the war effort.
To the war effort. And he also pulls out
pass it around.
He also pulls out a bottle, and of course the butler and the servants are down there, so they instantly go over to a cupboard and pull out glasses and take the bottle from Towton, and they start pouring glasses for everybody that's down there. And hurrah! You hear one person way in the back, 3 cheers for Towton, and everyone's like hip hip hooray, and they do that, and everybody drinks their wine as the countryside is bombed. While we're down here, this is the Brigadier talking to you, Carlos, Doc, Bug Eater, and Valentino. We're thinking we need to get on that train. Obviously, Badger and his commandos are not able to do it, but do you think you might be able to?
Which train?
It's the train that the Nazis have with all the artifacts.
Oh. Yeah, let's do it.
We've done more difficult things.
Well, we don't know that yet.
This is definitely behind enemy lines, so this will be very difficult.
So would you rather us do that than go after, say, the piece in Romania?
I think if we understand why the Nazis are trying to gather all of this material now, that might help us and give us a little bit more preparation for the Romanian and the Russian artifacts.
Okay.
And might give us some insight into what the Black Sun are thinking.
Yep, I'm all for it.
Good. Well, we will drop some plans here, hopefully before the next day, and see about getting you on your way.
All right.
And sure enough, the Brigadier seems very happy. You see Sally smile and nod at you guys. And about an hour later, after drinking plenty of wine, and I mean plenty of wine, there's probably 50 people down in here. And you can see, first, Towton seems very cooperative and willing to share, a bottle of wine, but he didn't realize a bottle of wine does not service 50 people. And by the time,
and Dutch will definitely make sure that like the servants get.
Oh yeah, everybody's getting it. Yeah.
More wine.
And by the time that the all clear whistle is blown, there's a good 20 bottles of wine, 30 bottles of wine that have been consumed among 50 people, and he is maybe not as thrilled as the last time, and he kind of looks a little despondent as everyone is leaving the wine cellar, and he's like, "It was a
collection my family had been working on for decades. Well, I guess I'm just going to sleep this one off.
Yes, we probably all ought to go to bed. And everyone goes out. The servants go out. The groundspeople go out to see if there's any damage to the building. The soldiers go off to their quarters. The eggheads go off to their quarters. And all of you go up into your bedrooms. And as you fall asleep, you are once again plagued by horrible, horrible nightmares. Just some of the worst stuff that, for those of you that have been here on site for the last 2 weeks, these dreams have just been ongoing, almost relentless, nonstop. Carlos, you once again are dreaming of this big looming shadow that is trying to, break up any good that you are doing. Anytime that you're being awarded or recognized for the good that you're doing, this giant shadow shows up to scare everyone away and break up the fun. Valentino, you continue to have dreams about now someone is coming and taking your loved ones away from you. Doc, it's been a couple of weeks, but all you dream about is a very elderly version of the lawyer taking care of a very old and decrepit cat. And then we get to young Blisco.
Uh-oh.
Blisco, you're running, and you're running, and you're running across the fields, and it's these beautiful grasslands. And sure enough, after a few moments, you hear, "Get away, get away. Oh, please, get away. Shoo." And another one, hold steady, get away.
Head towards the voices.
Sure enough, you head toward the voices, and as you crest a small hill, looking down, you see ghouls surrounding the man that you know as Winston Churchill, and the other man is Towton, and around them are ghouls. And then from a far outer circle, you see a bunch of figures in red robes with red hoods, and they are chanting something around there. And both Towton and Churchill are doing as good a job as they can of keeping the ghouls away, but you can tell that the ghouls are getting closer and closer and closer with each passing moment. And as you're standing there looking down at the events below you, you hear somebody right over your left shoulder. "Well, this is really different, Mr. Blisco. What's going on?" And it's Dilbert standing there. And that's where we're going to end, as you wake up. Critical Hit Punch All Nazis is a production of Major Spoilers Entertainment and was produced and edited by me, Stephen Schleicher. If you would like to get a behind-the-scenes making of this episode, be sure to check out the GM Roundtable Octoon Cthulhu Edition at our Patreon page, patreon.com/Major Spoilers. Each week I discuss my plans for the upcoming game session, and Dr. Brad Will is there to share his reactions and advice on how to be a better game master. I will warn you, though, there are spoilers galore in every installment of the GM Roundtable Octoon Cthulhu Edition. So, if you don't like spoilers and don't want to know what I am planning next, don't listen to these episodes. Though, I will say, if you do listen, you'll be able to see how and where the players throw a wrench into my plans, and you're also going to have greater insight into the world that's being built into this campaign. Finally, we want you to record yourself doing your best on Critical Hit and send it to us at podcast@majorspoilers.com, and your voice will join the growing chorus of fans in upcoming episodes as well. Thank you again for listening this week, and here's hoping all of your dice rolls are critical hits.
This podcast is copyright 2024 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.